stop everything for 1 second, because the palace escape story everyone celebrated may have just turned into a billionaire revenge saga no one saw coming. The same couple who sold the world a dream of freedom, wealth, and unstoppable success are now being dragged into whispers of unpaid debts, collapsing deals, and a mansion that may be turning into a golden trap. And at the center of this storm stands one man with money, power, and a memory that apparently never forgets: Tyler Perry. Imagine the scene. A self-made billionaire, respected across Hollywood, reportedly reaches the end of his patience and publicly demands repayment from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Not in private, not through quiet lawyers, publicly, loud enough for the world to hear. 30 days to pay. 30 days before court. If true, that is not a misunderstanding. That is a warning shot. And when someone with that level of influence speaks like that, people listen. Investors listen. Studios listen. Friends suddenly become distant, because this was not some random celebrity connection. This was the man who opened the gates of his Beverly Hills estate when they first arrived in America, shaken, hunted by headlines, desperate to build a new chapter. While cameras speculated and critics mocked, Tyler Perry reportedly gave shelter, security, privacy, and something even more valuable: trust. In a city built on transactions, trust is rare currency, and when that currency is broken, the fallout spreads fast. Now look at the symbol of that new life, the Montecito mansion. 9 bedrooms, 16 bathrooms, ocean views, tennis court, rose gardens. The kind of estate meant to scream victory. The kind of property designed to tell the world we left royalty and still won. But what if behind those gates was not triumph, but pressure? What if every shining wall hid another bill, another payment, another deadline ticking closer? Reports described a mortgage, then whispers of a personal loan, then talk of interest growing, then rising taxes, then private security costs so massive they would stun ordinary people. Because royal level protection in California is not cheap. Staff is not cheap. Maintenance on a luxury estate is not cheap. Privacy itself is expensive when your brand depends on being seen and hidden at the same time. Suddenly, the dream house starts looking less like a home and more like a machine that eats money every single month. And here is where the story becomes dangerous. Their public image was built on one promise: independence. They were going to thrive outside the institution. They were going to build media empires, charitable influence, global brands, and generational wealth. The world was told this was freedom in motion. But if loans from billionaire friends helped build the foundation, then how independent was the empire really? That single question changes everything. Then came the mega deals: Netflix, Spotify, book contracts, speaking fees, headlines announcing millions and millions. It looked unstoppable. But headlines only show the opening act. They do not show renewals getting tense. They do not show executives losing patience. They do not show projects that fail to create momentum after the first burst of curiosity. They do not show silence after the cameras leave. The documentary hit big because people wanted access to royal drama. That was the hook. But what happens when audiences consume the story once and move on? What happens when the only content people rush to watch is the exact royal conflict the couple claims to want distance from? That is a brutal trap. Their relevance comes from what they are trying to escape. Their business depends on the very institution they keep rejecting. That contradiction is not small. It is the center of the mystery. Then the cracks reportedly widened. Spotify gone. New content uncertain. Publishing tension. Brand fatigue, whispers growing louder. Hollywood is ruthless with fading momentum. 1 minute you are the future, the next minute meetings become shorter, calls slower, invitations fewer. It does not happen dramatically at first. It happens quietly. And quiet is often how empires begin to fall. Now return to Tyler Perry. If someone that powerful truly felt ignored or unpaid, this is bigger than money. Billionaires do not chase small checks for survival. They chase principle, respect, reputation. They chase the message it sends when someone assumes they can be delayed, dismissed, or forgotten. If he felt used, that would sting deeper than any balance do. And once that kind of signal goes public, every future partner starts recalculating risk. If a billionaire ally is frustrated, what do studios know? What do agents know? What do accountants know? What do neighbors know? What are former staff saying behind closed doors? Suddenly the story is not power couple building a new future. Suddenly the story becomes what is happening behind those gates. Meanwhile, the mansion still stands there like a glittering monument to image. Beautiful, huge, expensive, but symbols can flip. A palace can become a cage. A success story can become a cautionary tale. A dream purchase can become the asset that drags everything underwater. And if cash flow tightens while pressure rises, the house once used to prove arrival could become proof of overreach. What makes this even darker is the silence. No dramatic denials, no confident counters, no public ease. Just speculation filling empty space. And empty space is where gossip grows teeth. Every unanswered rumor becomes louder. Every delay feels meaningful. Every ordinary business issue starts looking like a secret crisis. So now, the real question hangs in the air. Was the glamorous American chapter ever stable? Or was it always held together by borrowed time, borrowed trust, and borrowed money? Because if the answer is the second one, then the next 30 days could change everything. The danger now is not just one debt, one friendship gone cold, or one ugly rumor spinning through celebrity circles. The danger is convergence. When multiple problems arrive at the same time, even wealthy people feel panic. A stalled media brand, expensive lifestyle obligations, fading goodwill, legal distractions, and questions about cash flow can turn manageable pressure into a full storm overnight. That is when polished narratives stop working. That is when numbers begin speaking louder than interviews ever could. Take the charity image that was supposed to crown their new identity. ArcUL Foundation was meant to symbolize purpose, compassion, impact, a higher road after royal life. But when any public foundation faces criticism over transparency, spending ratios, filings, or vague categories, perception changes fast. People do not read spreadsheets emotionally. They read them suspiciously. Once doubt enters the room, every receipt becomes a headline. Every delay becomes a theory. Every explanation sounds defensive, whether fair or not. And that is the curse of celebrity philanthropy. If the public senses branding matters more than impact, they turn cold instantly. Supporters ask hard questions. Critics sharpen knives. Former insiders suddenly become sources. Small stories grow into giant shadows. Even normal administrative mistakes can look sinister once trust weakens. That is why reputation is more fragile than wealth. Money can be rebuilt. Trust is harder. Then there is Meghan's glossy rescue plan, the lifestyle brand. As ever arrived, wrapped in soft imagery, curated elegance, garden aesthetics, jars, honey, domestic luxury, polished calm. On the surface, it looks smart. If entertainment deals wobble, build consumer revenue, sell aspiration directly. But the market is cruel. Beautiful branding gets attention. Repeat customers create survival. Hype sells first drops. Real businesses survive boring months after headlines fade. And people notice the pricing immediately. Premium jars, premium gift boxes, premium positioning. But there is a tension here no strategist can ignore. They built popularity through stories of struggle, fairness, empathy, and being mistreated by elites. Then they sell products many ordinary fans may never buy casually. That disconnect matters. Consumers can forgive luxury. They rarely forgive hypocrisy. If people feel emotionally courted but financially excluded, backlash comes fast. The first sellout created buzz, but sellouts can be misleading. Limited stock can disappear quickly and still prove nothing about long-term demand. Anyone in retail knows the real test is not launch week. It is month 6, year 2, reorders, expansion, margins, supply chains, returns, customer loyalty. Without that, glossy launches are just fireworks, loud, bright, and gone. Now imagine trying to scale a new luxury brand while under non-stop scrutiny, while family drama still defines headlines, while every pricing decision becomes cultural commentary, while critics frame every move as desperation. That is not a clean business launch. That is entrepreneurship inside a hurricane. Meanwhile, Prince Harry still carries legal battles, public resentment, family distance, and a complicated truth. His strongest commercial value often rises when royal conflict rises. That is a brutal reality. Peace may be healthy personally, but conflict sells publicly. Every time tensions cool, audience fascination cools. Every time tensions reignite, headlines explode. So what is the incentive structure around them now? Harmony or drama? Privacy or relevance? Healing or monetizable chaos? That question may define their future more than any contract. And what of the royal family? Their silence may be the sharpest move of all. King Charles III says little. Prince William says little. Catherine, Princess of Wales, says little. Silence frustrates critics because it cannot be debated. Silence frustrates defenders because it offers no bridge. Silence lets the other side keep talking until exhaustion sets in. Institutions often survive by outlasting noise, and that creates the emotional trap at the center of everything. Harry and Meghan left to control their story, but the more they speak, the more they remain tied to the chapter they wanted to leave. The monarchy survives by being boring and durable. So Celebrity survives by being dramatic and visible. They chose visibility. Visibility always sends invoices later. If Tyler Perry truly draws a legal line, then discovery, records, contracts, communications, timelines, expectations, all could become pressure points. Even if nothing catastrophic emerges, the spectacle alone would hurt. Lawsuits turn whispers into searchable documents. They turn rumors into procedural events. They force private discomfort into public chronology. For a couple whose image depends heavily on narrative control, that would be deeply dangerous. And if no lawsuit comes, even then, the warning already did its work. The rumor of unpaid obligations can damage as effectively as the case itself. Potential partners hate uncertainty. Brands hate controversy without upside. Investors hate stories where they cannot tell what is true. When confidence drops, opportunities shrink before any verdict arrives. So what are the exits? Reconciliation with the royal family would create headlines but not necessarily money. A massive new hit project with Netflix or another studio could reset momentum, but hits cannot be ordered on demand. The lifestyle brand could unexpectedly explode into a powerhouse, but scaling takes time. Asset sales could relieve pressure, but symbols once sold rarely return. Cutting expenses would help, but downsizing publicly contradicts the image sold for years. Every path carries pain. That is why 2026 feels like a reckoning year in this story. Every promise now meets performance. Every speech meets accounting. Every glamorous photo meets maintenance bills. Every emotional interview meets business outcomes. Every friendship meets repayment schedules. Reality is not cruel because it attacks. Reality is cruel because it arrives eventually. And somewhere behind those Montecito gates, decisions are being weighed right now. Double down on brand expansion? Quietly settle debts? Seek fresh investors? Rebuild family ties? Sell the house before pressure grows? Launch another tell-all cycle? Retreat from public life entirely? Each move solves one problem and creates another. That is what happens when strategy gets cornered. The world keeps watching because this story was never only about two people. It became a fantasy about escaping institutions, monetizing authenticity, and proving fame could replace legacy. If that fantasy cracks, people pay attention because it reflects bigger truths about status, money, image, and modern celebrity itself. So here we are, a mansion shining in the California sun, powerful names circling the headlines, old allies turning into mysteries, new ventures carrying heavy expectations. A royal exile story slowly transforming into a cautionary tale about what happens when ambition moves faster than foundations. And the most dangerous part? The next chapter may already be underway in total silence.